Number 16 is Josh Moore. On the bench for them, number 2, Jacob Pure. In number 12, Sandro Hutter. And number 8 is Andrew Collins. Number 17, Sam Taylor. And number 1, Josh Neville, who's also the goalkeeper for Lambton. Number 1, Brad Swancott in goals. Number 12 is Dane Greentree, I should say, sorry. Number 2, Ridge Mapu. Number 3 is Brent Hamill. Number 4, Nathan Verity. Number 5, Marcus Duncan. Number 8 is Ben Hay. Number 11, Luke Remington. Number 17, Pat Brown. Number 19, who's also the captain, Michael Sessions. Number 15, Tom Waller. And on the bench for them, number 9, Joel Griffiths. Number 6, Finn Paris. Number 7, Rex Finance. Number 10, Dylan Bosnovsky. And number 20, Daniel March, who's also the goalkeeper. So we've just been joined as well by Liam Bentley.
How are you, mate?
Nice to have you with us here today.
Excellent. Great to be here.
You're obviously the senior competitions officer of sorts out here at Northern, so you're well aware of what's going on as well across the up north, which is good to see.
Yeah, certainly. I did spend the weekend up in Coffs Harbour for the Northern qualifying section, so that was some fantastic football, and Port United certainly done it the hard way. Extra time in there, and there's certainly some tired legs come the second game for them. So, but they've done well. They've got here, and they've got their challenge ahead of them against Jaffas now. Yeah,
and a very big challenge as well as ball in the box there. Ben Hamill trying to get rid of it, and number 5, Eli Wade, getting on top of that. Watson now trying to get a foot to it, but he couldn't before it went out. Throw in there to the Lambton Jaffas, and I mean, just talking about Port United, I was just saying before earlier that they're just a really unknown quantity. A lot of people down south here don't exactly know about them. They are sitting in 5th in the Far Mid-North Coast Premier League, and a bit off and on. They've had last 2 games in that league they've lost. There's a cracking shot coming there from further back there. I'm not sure who hit it, but it might have been Ben Hay. The goal kick to come. But yeah, you would know a bit more, Liam, about Port United and what they're like, what they can bring, their strengths, their weaknesses. Anything that you can give us?
Yeah, look, I mean, in terms of where they're at this season so far, the league position probably belies the form of this year. They've only really lost the last 2 games this season. You know, they've come through the cup again done it the hard way a little bit in the Northern qualifying. However, they've pretty much been dominant in their own league, and couple of players to pick out, to look out for today. The number 11 on the left hand side, Harrison Gordon. If they get the chance to get forward, he certainly did a bit of damage, got a bit of pace about him as he gets depossessed right now with the commentator's curse.
Ridge Mapu winning the ball off him. Brent Hamill now going to knock it down the wing there on the right side of your screens. It's going to come back to Ben Hay. Ben Hay trying to give it to Luke Remington, who kept the ball kind of. Sessions now the captain, giving it over, and the ball's whipped in. Hamill might be able to get onto the end of this and get it back into the box, and he's going to just keep it though. Take his time with it. Take him on now, and it's going to be a little bit of a touch there, and then booted down the field there by Eli Wade.
I think this is going to be the test. This is probably going to be the pattern of the game for Port United, is win it deep and try and get it out, and it's that test as to whether they can actually hold it out there and keep the ball.
Greentree crosses it across the face of the goal, but it's collected there by the keeper, Higham. He now gets it out wide. A bit of time on his hands here. Plays into Pilgrim there. Now that man you're talking about, Gordon, tries to just roll it down the wing, and a bit of a late challenge there from the number 9, Matthew Bale. Thought potentially a yellow card might be on the cards there, but not to be.
That's probably a yellow card in the 70th minute, mate.
Ben Hay seems like he might be limping a little bit. I'm not sure if he doesn't look to be in too good at the moment. He's not hobbling around in the middle of the park. Not a good time to get an injury, is it, early on?
No, it certainly isn't. We've seen in the first game Daniel McBreen copped an injury fairly early on. He limped through for the next probably 15 minutes or so, but that certainly hampered Edge's, I guess, efforts to get through.
The ball now, Hay, that man who thought was just injured, and keeps it. Mapu's got the ball, tries to get a cross in. I think it was blocked there by Gordon. Mapu keeps it now. It's gone backwards away from the opposition's goal. He gets it to Ben Hamill. Ben Hamill's going to get at him now. There's a little bit of a step over, makes some space for himself, crosses it over, and it's knocked away from the goalkeeper, Higham, though. Greentree now going to come across and cross it back in. think it was Beracry there, just popped it up in the air, and Higham gets it. Beracry actually 17 years old as well. One of the youngest players you would think on this field at the moment. As the ball's knocked down from Higham, around just past halfway, headed by Remington. Verdi got a touch to it, but it's going to be knocked down the field. Higham gets it down the field. Ben Hay got it, and Mapu is just going to keep it in. Is he? No, it's going to be a throw in as he came right over towards us where we are commentating today. So
almost put a set of headphones on.
Yeah, almost took us out as they're going to come back for the throw in now, Port United.
I think they've just got to take times like this to try and just slow the game down, take the pace out. The longer they go without conceding a goal, obviously the greater their chances are, and the confidence will grow as well. But they're not going to get a whole lot of time on the ball themselves, so they need to treasure every minute they actually get.
And you've got to think as well that with this defence as well, Lambton obviously have one of the better defences in the NPL, that they're probably not going to get that many chances either. So when they do come, I think they're going to have to take them if they're going to want a chance in winning this game, as Beracry puts it down the wing. But
yeah, you can see as soon as they lose the ball, they're dropping into almost a 4-4-1-1 type of situation. And that's kind of smart. You don't want to just leave one person up on their own. You actually need a bit of a link, because if you're basically pumping the ball long up to Matthew Bale, it's going to be a challenge for him to hold it against two of the better centre-halves in the league.
Ben Hamill now gives it back to Tom Waller. Waller back to Mapu. Mapu's going to go back to Hamill. He's onside. He's going to cross it across the face of the goal, and it's going to get a touch in. Referee, though, is saying offside. And I'm not sure if they're calling it there on there. I think they called it on the goal scorer, which would have been Pat Brown. Not on the crosser, who was Brent Hamill. And Port United getting off free there. I'm not sure. So it's not the goal scorer. Nathan Verdi would have been the goal scorer. I think it's Pat Brown, the one running through just beforehand. Well, unless it was Brent Hamill, but
it would have been very, very close, I think.
It would have been a disastrous start for Port United as well to go down this early on in the game.
Absolutely, and this is something they have to come to grips with as well, is this surface and how quick it will be compared to what they're used to. And they mentioned it before the game, it's just getting used to that. Those balls getting whipped in low and hard on the synthetic will be something different for them to deal with.
As Verdi crosses it in, but it's going to be a bit too big, probably going to go out for a throw-in. Yes, they give up on the play there. Throw-in to come on the right-hand corner of your screen, and we've seen already in the two previous games, players are still adjusting to the synthetic pitch, and the skid that it has. I mean, it's just not. They have a lot of control of it. Obviously, there's no bobbles like there would be in the normal field.
There's nothing else to blame, Quentin.
No, but it is skidding along, especially with this wet weather that we've been having. So I mean, I think I'm not sure what the pitches are like at the football mid-north coast, but I can't imagine they would be playing on this kind of material either.
Nah, look, I mean, probably the one positive is it's been a bit wet for the last couple of weeks. They'll be used to slippy surfaces, the ball sliding through. This is probably just another level on top of that. There's no bobble to hold the ball up as much. It will skid through a bit more. But you're right, it plays true, and that's what, ironically, what we're not always used to this level of football, is the ball actually going exactly where you tell it to go. It hides no mistakes, mate. It
was Jimmy Watson there in the middle of the park getting a free kick for his side. Chance to dink it in the box here. He's going to take it back a little bit. Usually it's the opposite. Taking it as forward as you can, but he's going to take it back. He knocks it over, gets into the box, headed away from Brent Hamill, I think it was. Coming across his Beracry. He's going to just let it run out there and take the throw in.
Not a lot of height in this Port squad either. It's quite a short squad when you look at it. There's a couple like Josh Moore on the leg that they'll be targeting, but
Josh Moore, one of the players there, he's giving away a free kick on Pat Brown there. Probably one of the towering figures in the inside as well. Only a couple, as you were saying, pretty small side. Although Lambton Jaffas as well. Not an overly large team either. They've obviously got a few boys. Michael Sessions, quite a tall player. Marcus Duncan can rise above as well. Pat Brown, but the rest quite small all across the park at the moment. As Ben Hay with it now, they're just taking their time. Lambton not going to force the equation at all. Just back and forth, it seems.
Yeah, they're also just trying to pull the defence apart and find that gap to get the ball played through it.
Marcus Duncan Gives it to Hamilton on the edge of the box there. He runs back. Duncan with it again. Gets it in behind to Brown. Brown's kept it well. Still got it. Back to Duncan again. Duncan turns back to Hay, and he's going to keep spreading them back out again. Michael Sessions with the ball. He's going to go for goal, I think. He launches it, but it goes to the right of the upright there. So goal kick to come. And as we've seen early on, only 9 minutes gone in this game. Port United not really having much of the ball at all. I can't remember even a few passes being strung together just yet, but still 0-0, which is what counts at the moment.
To be fair, I don't think they planned on having too much of the ball either, Quinton. I think they'll be quite happy to let the ball be passed around at the halfway line by Jaffas. But look, it's 10 minutes in, they haven't conceded, and both Edgeworth and Hamilton have conceded by this point, so they're doing something right.
This breaks there almost. Did well in the middle of the park there. There's Collar. He gets beaten there. And tries a little 1-2. Wade almost got a touch on it. Pat Brown with it. Hits with his left foot, but it's blocked. And now Remington comes out to, I think it's Greentree out there. He crosses it in or tries to get a flick away. Pat Brown, and it's another offside. The ball ended up in the back of the net again. I think it was off a deflection again. Well, the referee's called offside on again, so the offside flag saving them twice now. Probably could have got rid of the ball there a bit earlier on, but
certainly living dangerously.
Yes. They survive again, Port United. Higham now knocking it down the field. It was Watson there getting head onto it, but no one there to collect it. Swancott just going to play it over to there to Ridge Mapu. Ridge Mapu going to take him on. Gets back on the inside to Hay, and Hay almost made a bit of a blunder. He does make a blunder in the end. Collar with the ball now. He turns back, but Hay just pinches it off him. And his touch is too big, goes to Wade. Mapu now seizes control of it, gets past the outside there of Watson, and I think he thought that Hemmel was running on the outside, and he gets a free kick. Bit of a late clipping there on him there, but
yeah,
Port United probably
yeah.
didn't need to make that challenge, seeing as they were going to win the ball back anyway. Duncan now just going to knock it across the field, looking for Verity, but gets a touch over there from Bale, and they're going to get the throw in. Furthest that Port United has been in the FFA Cup so far in the years that they've been in it. Last year we saw Coff City, one of the Northern Conference sides, make it to the Final Four, having beaten Cardiff as the ball's whipped into the box here, and it's going to get kneed away by Moore. And then very good work there from Pilgrim. He holds off Remington, keeps the ball. He's still got it. He's getting at the attack. Getting at the defence, I should say. He goes out wide, comes back to Watson. The pass is just not a good one, though. And now Lambton are back on the ball. They're going to go in behind. Pat Brown got a lot of speed. He's got Random looking for an early pass. Goes too long. Remington's going to collect it once again. Looking for that left foot into the box. Over Verity's head and out and away. And a bit of a wayward pass there. A bit of a hopeful ball that finds no avail. And Lambton once again seizing control. And they're going to just take their time, it looks like. Ben Hamill tries a little 1-2. Doesn't work out. Pilgrim with the ball. Loses it. Wins it back again, though.
And that's the ball that really needs to stick, Quinton. That ball coming out straight away, just to give them, even if it's just 5-10 seconds of a little bit less pressure on them, and start to build an attack rather than just constantly trying to fight for the ball.
Now it's pushing up the field is Bodrick, I think. He's gets his team a throw in.
I'll just notice at the start of that attack, as the ball went forward, it was basically 4-on-4. There was the two, well, I guess the 9 and the 10, positionally, plus both wingers had both gone quite high, almost cost them when they lost possession, but I guess you're going to have to gamble at one point if you want to score against this Jaffas defence.
Watson losing the ball in the middle of the field there, just outside the box, I should say, and Hemmel, he does well. He beats one. Mapu's got some space. Bit of a poor touch, though, almost goes out. He keeps it in. Going to take them on now, one-on-one, goes down the wing. Can he get across away? He does get across. It comes into the box, and it's dispatched away from Moore, though. Going to keep the ball here. Lambton doing well. Bit of a sliding, wild challenge there, but avoided by Tom Waller. Ben Hay with it. He goes out wide now. Dane Greentree. He gets it into the box, looking for Pat Brown. Can't find him. Now Bale, he's going to try and hold it up, but he loses it. And Hay hits it. Saved by Higham. Is it going out? Moore's going to try and get it. He just finds Hay's foot again. Hay looks to have a magnet on his foot at the moment. Crosses it over. It's going to get blocked. And they're going to win themselves a corner. And it seems like you were saying, that Port United just not, keeping control like Lambton are. When Lambton get the ball, they're just taking their time, passing it back again, and just keeping their composure. While Port United, though, as soon as they get it, it seems a bit frantic, trying to get forward too quickly. And then you've seen there just again, Ben Hay getting the ball off 2 mistakes, 2 bad passes. As Hay, that man again, crosses it in, and it's in the back of the net. Well, it was almost just looked simple. He had 2 shots beforehand. He got 2 mistakes. Pass to him from Port United. And then there off the corner, a short corner comes in, and Benny Hay just makes no mistakes with it. Takes a touch and knocks it in the back of the net right into the corner. And I was just saying they need to start pressing him more. Here's the replay.
Just really simply, it wasn't marked. It's about as simple as it gets in football terms. They never marked the guy that had just had 2 shots in goal in the last 60 seconds. And third time, lucky, you give Ben Hay 3 or 4 shots at goal, you're pretty sure he's going to put one in the back of the net, and they did.
Port United down 1-0 now, boy. Not the start they would have been wanting, obviously. They would have been hoping themselves to get an early goal. 15 minutes in there when they find themselves behind. It's Pat Brown now, gets a ball out to Verity there. Verity's going to look for that cross into Hamill. Goes in behind him, though. Ben Hay might get this just before it goes out. Does. Keeps it, gets it to Hamill. Tries to play a little 1-2. Ben Hay running a lot in the last few minutes.
He's been everywhere, Quinn. He's been everywhere.
Like I said, I think he's got a magnet on his foot today. Ball just keeps finding it. Which might be coming back to Duncan, and Duncan's just going to switch the play to the captain, Michael Sessions there. Captain with no armband, it seems. Might have left it at home. As Remington gives it to Pat Brown, tries a little touch. He does get it to Remington, hits it with the right foot. He's not right-footed. He's usually got a wicked left foot on him, so probably would have preferred that on his other foot. As Gordon here plays it back to Beracry. Beracry trying to find Matthew Bale. And they're just really struggling to get out from their own defensive third at the moment, Port United.
You just see that pressure straight away, right at left back. There's 2 players trying to win that ball back, and because Lambton are pushing so high, as soon as Port get the ball, any pass that they actually make is under pressure.
Cross comes in there, but it's going to go to no avail. Goal kick to Port United. Lambton Jaffas, they sit in 3rd in the NPL Northern New South Wales. 4 points behind the 2 teams above them, Broomera Magic and Edgeworth. Bit of a staggered start to their season. Looked very good in some games, and some other games not so much. Probably not where they would have liked to be, but still in that top 4 where you obviously need to be to win the championship, as Higham now clears it down, just clearing halfway, and Collar's got a free header.
Like I won't, as an administrator at Northern, I'm not going to complain about the fact that it's such a fantastically close season this season. To be honest, it's been really interesting. It's my first season up here, and it's been a cracking first season in Northern for me. So I'm really enjoying it. It's been really close, and you'd be mad to try and pick the finalists right now.
Lambton Jaffas, they've been 3 games unbeaten so far in the NPL Northern New South Wales, and we just talked about Port United. They've lost their last 2 games in the far mid-north coast Premier League. So 2 teams coming in with quite opposite form. Seems to be showing a little bit early on as well. Port United struggling to keep the ball, while Lambton doing it with ease. 1-0 though. There was a couple of chances that have gone begging in the first 10 minutes that were called offside. There's a little flick there from, I think it was Waller. He got it to Remington. Remington got it to Hamill. Remington take him on. Obviously a member of played in the Australian, the Socceroos, or the Joeys, I think, in the Under-17s World Cup a few years back. The ball comes over to us in our little commentary box. Not sure if you remember that. Luke Remington scoring his goal for Australia, doing a backflip as well afterwards.
Yes, absolutely. Now that you've said it, the backflip's got the memory back.
He probably has that picture framed somewhere, hopefully in his room. Beracry gets the ball into Matt Bale, and Bale loses it, and Waller now goes out to Hamill. Hamill just waiting for the overlapping run, gets it to Pat Brown. Pat Brown's just going to take his time, look for a man to pass it to, gives it to Hamill. Hamill, another player who's been pretty busy already, and he gives it back to Waller, tries to at least. Coming across was Pilgrim, but makes a mistake there, and Watson's got the ball in the middle of the park and got a bit of space on his hands too. He's going to get at him. He's going to have Ben Hay hot on his heels though, when he tries a little toe poke and a sliding challenge. Bit of a wild challenge. Thought the ref might have come back for the advantage there. Not to be, and a bit of an argy-bargy between some players there. I'm not sure if it's going to be a free kick anywhere. I'm not sure if Allison, the ref, has just held it up to stop any kind of conflict happening.
Yeah, well, Sessions was clearly unhappy with the challenge. It was a bit late and a bit reckless, so I can understand why he's unhappy. But at the same point, I don't think there was any need to put the arm out and start a bit of an argument there.
It looks like she's just having a bit of a talk to Jimmy Watson there, the man who was the culprit behind the wild sliding challenge. It's just going to be a drop ball, I think, though, and Lambton, I think, is going to knock it down to Higham in goals.
So I think, look, we're 20 minutes in, and I think for Port United that the really frustrating thing for the coaching staff are going to be, it's the simple things, you know, and I was going to mention the fact that they hadn't challenged very well for a ball now, but is it?
Swancott just clears it down the field, and it's going to go over to Beracry and Hamill. Hamill gets a little flick on. Pat Brown trying to get past Wade here, using his hands to do so. Referee says that's okay, though. And he's still got the ball, Pat Brown. What's he going to do? He cuts it back into Tom Waller. Tom Waller into the back of the net. And it is 2-0 Lambton Jaffas. Another quite simple goal, it seemed. Just Pat Brown winning the confrontation there between him and Eli Wade. And then once he did that, just a simple cutback onto the inside. Tom Waller into the back of the net, and Lambton Jaffas doubled their lead.
Yeah, look, it was interesting. Like I say, the battle on the way down this right-hand side. They were both at it for me, and I think that's probably what the referee's seen. There was hands there. There was hands there. There was shoulders. There was bodies going in the way. But you know, Pat Brown's used his experience. He's got down. He's crossed it in, and Tom Waller made no mistake from about 7 yards.
Now only 20 minutes gone, and it is 2-0. It's a free kick straight off the kick-off there. Coming to Elliott breaks.
I think, look, now it's going to get to the point where it is a bit of damage control. Even if it's just damage control for the first half, if they still fancy themselves to nick one. But they don't want a demoralising defeat. That was the word from the camp. They don't want to lose a big score. They like to come down here and go away with their heads held high, whether that's with a win or with a defeat that's respectable.
They've certainly made it this far, though, which is a pretty impressive achievement already. We know that Northern Conference only get 2 teams into the final 8, so to get there anyway is a great achievement.
Absolutely, Quentin, and like I say, they battled very, very hard. 2 games in 2 days and extra time in one of them, so there's not many players would play 120 minutes on one day, 90 minutes the next, so absolutely credit to them for getting to this point. There's a lot of clubs up there. There was probably 40 odd clubs in the Northern Zone to fight for these spots.
It's Pat Brown with it over in the right side of the screen. He's going to win himself a free kick. The call from James Pascoe, I think, was take your time, so that's what they'll probably do. And just speaking about Port United as well, they've in those 4 FFA Cup matches that they've had, obviously our teams here in the NPL, they don't have to play as many. They enter the competition at a later date, a later round. They've only played 2 games, Lambton Jaffas, but so for the 4 that Port United have won, they've actually scored 18 goals, which is more than 4 a game, which is quite impressive. As the free kick now from Ben Hay gets whipped in, and it's got a header from Ben Hamill. Ticked the crossbar as it came in, and that makes it 3-0 to Lambton Jaffas.
Well, it's just too easy, Quentin. The ball's come in. It was a really tasty ball into the box, and that bit of that no man's land there. But you leave a man like that unmarked or not tightly marked. As you can see there, he just got in front of his man, and beautiful header. Straight.
Yep, not much the goalkeeper Higham could have done with that shot. Straight into the crossbar, ticking it on the way in, and Lambton Jaffas 3-0 in front now after 23 minutes.
This is a real test now for Port United. The next 5 minutes is to really, don't let the confidence take a hit. it's hard. You're 3-0 down. You're probably looking at being out of the cup now, but don't do anything silly. Keep your structure, keep your confidence, and actually try and just steady the ship a little bit.
Well, as I was saying just before they scored the goal, they have scored 18 goals in their last 4 games, as free kick's going to be pulled on Pat Brown here, and a bit of a push and shove, and very tense opening 20 minutes, which you don't often see. Often this comes a bit later on in the game, these kinds of confrontations. So
I think you find as well, when you've got a kind of disparity in the level of team, that some of these boys have played at quite a high level and playing NPL week in, week out. You know, the tricks of the trade of you know, how to not give away a foul but still physically outmuscle your opponent. You know, that's something that, you know, if you're playing in football mid-North Coast or if you're playing in the lower divisions, you don't quite always get exposed to, and it can be quite frustrating because these players, you think, well, I wouldn't get away with that in my league, and these guys get away with it, but they're just very smart at how they do it, and that can be very frustrating for a player from a lower level.
Well, obviously, Port United have averaged more than 4 goals a game their matches so far, and they're going to have to do that once again if they want to get through. They're going to have to score 4 goals.
Quentin, I'm calling it. That would be the biggest cup upset going around if they go up and score 4 goals now.
It seems that Port United is going to make a first half substitution. Beracry, the youngster, coming off. He looks like he's hurt a little bit, which is a shame, really. Only 25 minutes in for that to happen. Coming on is Jacob Pugh, which is a bit of a shame, yeah, for Beracry. Only 17 years old, probably the youngest player on this field, and having to end his FFA Cup round 6 match early. But as you said about the level of players that are in this Lambton Jaffas team, I mean, you have to recognise the fact that these players are obviously playing with guys like Joel Griffiths, Ryan Griffiths, Braden Crowley as well, guys that have all played at A-League level. They're training with them. Joe Wheelhouse, obviously, as well, the former Jets captain. They're training with them on a consistent basis. They're also versing former Jets players such as Matt Thompson. I mean, there's just this league just seems a bit like they're playing in a bit more professional atmosphere, so to speak, which
Absolutely.
makes it hard. So, I mean, Port United were always going to face an uphill battle, but as we said, they're still not done yet. Let's not forget that only 25 minutes have gone. Elliot Breaks trying to get there, and he's lost the throw in there, but...
And like you say, the list of players that you just kind of rhymed off there, they've all got very similar traits here. The Griffiths brothers, Wheelhouse... Yeah, these kind of guys they're solid. They're really difficult to play against. Even you ask their A-League opponents, they hated playing against Joe Wheelhouse. They hated playing against the Griffiths brothers because they were just absolutely solid and they won every single battle.
Yeah.
And if that's what it's like in a training pitch 3 times a week at Jaffas, for these young boys coming through and for the boys that are kind of plateaued at that kind of NPL level, then that's what they're going to be used to, and that's what they're going to be bringing out against, you know, these boys from Port Macquarie.
Bit of a talking to from Allison here, the referee. And it seems Wade is coming off a bit of a blood on his knee. You can see on his right knee. I'm not sure if we can get a shot of that, but he's coming off. He's got a bit of a to the blood bin.
That doesn't look very pretty.
No, I'm not sure how he received that, but might be from some of the battles with Pat Brown. He's getting it wiped off now.
Be very careful now. It's been hard enough with 11 men. I want to get him patched up pretty quick because this team with playing against 10 men could really do some damage.
So Elliot Breaks gets the ball over there now. It's going to get cleared into a Lambton Jaffas player. And the throw in there. Broderick with the ball, I think it is, over, and he puts into the middle. Gordon gets a little flick on there. Bale trying to keep the ball, can't though. The ball just gets bombed up in the air, and Swancott probably could have caught that, but goes for the volley instead. It's going to stay in. Ben Hamill, no, it's not going to stay in. The linesman says that went out on the bounce.
He's just coming to check on the blood. He's got the bandage on it.
And he's back on. Tough cookie. Number 5, Eli Wade. The ball gets thrown in, and they've got the ball here, Port United. And they're taking position. Can they get a crossover? They do. There's no one there, though, to get onto it. Collar was coming in, but just a bit too late. It was a nice little ball into space there, but no one running onto it. And like we said, you're going to have to take your chances, or even half chances, versus this kind of side.
Yeah, absolutely. You're not going to get too many times you whip the ball into the box unopposed. So you need to make sure you actually do something with it when you do it.
Ben Hamill, the sliding challenge, gets it to Tom Waller. Tom Waller jumping around in the air, wins himself a free kick, much to the displeasure of Port United.
And again, that's just those smarts of being able to hold the ball up like that and get your body in the right position to win the foul.
Luke Remington now, he's got the ball. He gives it over to Verdi. Verdi coming back to Greentree, and Greentree just going to back to Remington. Bit of a triangle here between them. Can he keep it? The ball's gone out. Not sure whose it is. It's going to be Lambton's throw-in or a free kick. I think it's going to be a free kick.
Yep.
Lambton Jaffas obviously were part of the FFA Cup round of 32 in 2016. Went to Tasmania to play, actually. Unfortunately went down in that game, but got experience in getting to that spot as it's crossed in, and Hamill trying to get his head on it again. Pat Brown keeping the ball. The right hand side of your screens here. He's just going to take his time. Just big switch over to Michael Sessions. He's going to instead find Dan Greentree, and Greentree looking for Ben Hay there. Collar intercepts it though, and Duncan with the ball now. And Lambton Jaffas seizing control once again. I just saw you shake your head, Liam, to that ball.
I did. Look, you can understand the pressure Jaffas are putting on and winning those balls when it comes to a one-on-one challenge, but the frustration must be on the Port bench. The amount of balls they've just given away. You know, try to find a long ball and try to find a World Cup pass and just giving it straight to a yellow jersey. So, you know, if I'm in that Port dugout, I'm saying, you know, keep the ball, short passes, and don't give the ball away as often. Let's, you know, give your boys a chance to come up and support you.
Do you think it potentially might have been their tactic today to just try and get the ball long when they can, try and catch Lambton on the break?
Look, absolutely, I can see the logic in that. But you know, Michael Sessions has won everything, and everything he hasn't won, Marcus Duncan's won. So you know, it's not a tactic that's going to work. And every time they do it, that's where Lambton have set up every single one of their goals. They've set it up from the back and then pass it down either wing, and then got the goal. So they've got to be careful that, you know, it's all right giving the ball away there, but if you're going to allow Lambton to play the ball out, then that's how they start their attack.
Gordon gets the ball into break space with a bit of a flick, and Lambton Jaffas is going to get the ball again. Pat Brown chesting it and passing it back to Waller. Waller to Hamill. Hamill gets a bit stuck under his feet there and comes out wide to Mapu. Mapu with some space out here. He's going to take him on, did a bit of a flick to run past, and I think he was expecting a free kick, but referee said, "Sorry, mate, not today."
Nah, not a free kick from me, Quinton. Can't expect bloke to get out the road just because you want to get past him.
Sport United, the captain, knocks it down the field, finds Gordon's feet. He finds Collar. Collar with the ball now. He's going to go back to Watson. Can he keep it, Watson? He's going to get a free kick. He couldn't keep it, but he gets a free kick, and probably just a bit outside a free kick specialist's range, unless they have someone like that who can knock one in from here.
Look, I'm gonna suggest that at this level of the competition, someone fancies himself for a free kick about here, don't they?
Would you jump at it, Liam?
I'm not a free kick specialist, but you know I'm aiming for that top corner, Quinton.
Well, it's going to be Elliot Breaks. I'm not sure if he's going to go for the cross or for the shot. He's also got someone out wide here if he wants to go for it. He's going to go for the cross instead. And Brad Swancott's going to come out and punch it away. And there's going to be a free kick to Lambton.
Yeah, offside.
Offside there.
I think there's something to be said as well, and we haven't seen it much, and maybe it's because, again, most of these teams aren't used to playing on this type of surface in the wet, but there's certainly something to be said about a low, hard drive on this surface. Just to catch the keeper off, a little bit of a bounce, spinning through, it can be really, really hard to deal with. Well,
we did see earlier in the Broadmeadow Magic Abbottstown Rosebud game, Cale Badby's first goal, an absolute screamer that was hit from outside the box along the ground into the bottom corner. Would have been absolutely a nightmare for goalkeepers, was for Ben Kelly. He wasn't able to keep it out. Might be the flavour of the day, hitting it low and hard into a corner. Pat Brown with the ball. He's going to keep it despite some pressure from Breaks. Goes out wide to Greentree. Greentree knocks a low ball in. Gets a deflection, but it's going to be gobbled up by Higham there. He's going to go short to Breaks. Breaks, who's been playing midfield most of the game. He's pretty far back. He's going to knock it long. to Gordon. And even if Gordon wins that header there, I can't see someone picking it up afterwards. And I think that's what you're talking about with the long ball. It just doesn't seem to be working to the way that they would have expected or wanting it to happen so far this game. Mapu, it's going to be across it. Goes over the back net as well into the car park.
And look,
into the fence.
And they don't need to necessarily, play tiki-taka football and try and work it out with 5-yard passes all the way. You're seeing how many men Lambton are committing forward when they're attacking. There's a good 6 or 7 of them up there that if they can play even, a 15, 20, 25-yard pass rather than a 30 or 40-yard pass, they're going to be in a bit more space, and, the pass is going to be a much higher percentage. And they can get forward quite quick. They've got a couple of quick players that will provide support for a striker. But again, just trying to get that extra 10, 15 yards is just increasing the risk markedly, and it's not working.
It's breaks now. He gets it down to Pilgrim. Pilgrim loses the ball, and Hay was looking for Wallow, I think. The ball cleared down. Headed back. It's not going to go to the keeper. Marcus Duncan is going to come collect it. He gets it to the keeper, though, and Swancott's just going to keep playing it out. Duncan with the ball now. Duncan finding the foot in the middle of the park. Mapu with it, and an easy out for Lambton to get out of trouble as Ben Hamill now on the attack. Port United are going to get control of it again. Are they? No, it's going to fall to Pat Brown. Pat Brown to Ben Hay. Ben Hay's in on goal here, and it's into the back of the net for a 4th time already in this first half. Ben Hay getting his 2nd, and it just seemed like they switched off a little bit there at the back. There was a tackle. It deflected onto Pat Brown, which was pretty lucky, admittedly, but he gives it to Ben Hay, and Ben Hay beats the keeper, no mistakes about it.
Yeah, look, there was a couple of tackles and never one there. Port were probably a bit too deep. They should have got out a little bit quicker. If they got out a little bit quicker, it'd been offside for that ball coming through. But again, just clinical from Jaffas. They're doing everything I imagine the coach wanted them to do in that situation. Pressure them, win the ball, quick movement, turn, have a shot that's going to hit the target, and that'll get you a goal most of the time.
There's Watson out wide, trying to get a toe in. He does, but it's going to go out and back to Brad Swancott now. And if you were the coach, Liam, of Port United, and you were going into the break potentially down 4-0, what would you be saying to the lads?
Jeez, you don't give me hard questions or anything, do you, Quentin? Look, it's difficult. You want to be saying you're going to acknowledge the tie's gone. You can't go in there and pretend you're going to go out and score 5 goals against a team that's just put 4 past you in 45 minutes. So you go out there, you try and be smart, you try and be strong, you give nothing away, you play a bit more conservative, and you try and keep it a bit more respectable. Maybe pack a fault. I'll let you go.
Ben Hamill now. Oh, looking, almost just split Ben Hay there. Not Ben Hay, sorry, but Ben Hay's here now, and he hits it with the right foot, not the left one. This might stay in over there, though, in the right-hand corner. No, it's not. He's going to get the throw-in butt.
I think the other thing as well, Quentin, is the simple things. Most of the time they're giving away the ball. It's not been from some fantastic tackling from Jaffas. It's been a lot of simple passes that have gone wrong. So keep your head, keep the simple stuff right, and make sure your passes just hit the target.
As Pat Brown launches it into the box, Verity gets a good head on it, but it's going to go nowhere, and a goal kick to come. Lambton Jaffas, when I was discussing the amount of goals that Port United had scored in there, four fixtures so far in the FFA Cup. Can't be outdone though. Well, they just do outdone, but Lambton Jaffas, they've scored 15 in 2 games. It's a big 11-0 win over South Cardiff in round 4, and then winning 4-1 in round 5.
You'd be a brave man to predict it's going to end at 4 today, wouldn't you, Keith?
Elliott breaks. He goes short. The substitute. It's going to go trying to get past him there. I think it was Watson, was it? No, it was Pilgrim in the middle of the park. It's Marcus Duncan now just launching it across the goal. Isn't that what you taught when you're a kid? No passes across goal, but Marcus Duncan makes no mistakes, and they get him behind again. Ben Hamill, he's on the ball. Does well to keep it from Eli Wade, but Eli Wade wins it now. A bit of a hold on there. Referee thought she might have just let that go there for a second, but
I think had the ball been won maybe 2 or 3 seconds earlier, she would have let it go, but just that little dance seemed to go on for a little too long there. I think as you're saying, the old passing the ball across the goal, I think that went out when the 4-3-3 came in, Quentin. We were told to play it out from the back. Yeah, that old don't play it across your own goal was back in the day when it was lump it fall to the big number 9.
The ball now comes to Gordon up front. He gets it to Broderick. Broderick's going to try and take him on down the wing, I think, here, but Michael Sessions comes across and does well to keep it in. Gets it now on the side to Tom Waller, but it's going to go out just before he can get to it. And Marcus Duncan, the man who played that ball that we were just discussing, can't forget that he also was a member of the Central Coast Mariners squad a while back. Didn't get into the A-League for an A-League debut, but he did play very much so in their youth side. Also been part of the emerging Jets in the Jets system here in Newcastle as well. So a lot of players that Lambton have that have played at higher levels and have a lot of experience to go with it as well. So I can imagine when the draw happened for round 6 that Port United were pretty disappointed to have drawn a team like this. It's Ben Hamill now. He's got it. Potentially going to try and get a cross in on the right foot, is he? No, he's going to try and play to Verity instead, but a bad touch, and it's cleared away there by Moore, and that man we're just talking about, Marcus Duncan, with the ball. Taking his time. A lot of space to take up here too, and he's gone in behind a Waller. Can Waller get there? He can just beforehand. Matt Bale is going to have the ball in the right bottom corner of your screens and win a throw-in.
Yeah, you've seen there again, it's all right to let the centre-half have the ball, but by the time the centre-half let the ball go, it was 25 yards from goal, and that's going to put you under a lot of pressure if you decide not to put pressure on him.
Marcus Duncan rises, wins it. Ridge Mapu holding off Matt Bale. He then gets it to Remington. Remington switches the play over to Greentree. Greentree looking for Hamill, finds Hamill. Hamill just keeping it. Waller now, they're just switching the ball back and forth across the field. Ridge Mapu now, going to go on the inside of him. Still got the ball, got clipped afterwards. I don't think he would have collected the ball once again after that touch, but a free kick nonetheless, and in a promising position as well. Ben Hay will like this one on his left foot, you would think, curling back around.
Absolutely, and I think it's the second free kick Ridge Mapu's got when he'd already lost the ball. You know, he'd lost the ball, but again, he moves the ball that quickly that someone clips him on the foot. The ball's already 10 yards away, but he's got the free kick nonetheless and deserved.
Free kick here, and Ben Hay, I'm not sure if he's going to take it or Ben Hamill's going to take it. Well, Hamill's walking away, so I think it's going to be all up to Hay. Potentially for a chance at a first half hat-trick, which we don't often see. Hits it and takes a great save to keep it out from Higham. His eyes would have lit up then, Ben Hay, after hitting that one. Great shot and a great save as well.
Yeah, cracking shot, was going in just inside the post there, and Higham done very well to get across. You seen him scrambling with the feet and then deciding to go the big dive and done well.
Yeah, he's been left quite high and dry from his defenders multiple times already this game. But great save there to keep Ben Hay away from a first half hat-trick. Only about 3 minutes left in this first half as the ball's crossed in on the corner. And Michael Sessions, I think, was rising above, but wasn't able to direct his header down. Must make a shout out as well to Winston Access for their scissor lift they gave us today. Make sure you go to them for all your scaffolding needs, whatever it may be. Without them today, none of this would be possible. We wouldn't be able to film the game from up high. We'd be down low and it'd all look a bit weird, wouldn't it, Liam?
It certainly would, so thanks very much to the guys at Instant Access for sorting us out there.
See him now in the rain. I can hear it on our little marquee here, our commentary booth. Starting to come a little bit harder now, down. It's been off and on all day. Hasn't really been too harsh on the field of the players as Marcus Duncan wins another header. And that's Matt Bale there with the ball, but he loses a bit cheaply, and it's just launched down the field now, cleared away, and Ben Swanscott's going to take that one with ease.
Just from that last corner, see the difference when you put pressure on someone like Michael Sessions. The last couple of headers that have come in, there really has been a lot of pressure on them. And even just putting pressure, you might not win the header against someone like Sessions or Duncan, but you can put them off enough that they're not, rifling into the back of the net.
There's Verity now, crosses it, he finds Waller on the left foot. Would have been a pretty spectacular finish if it had landed in the back of the net, but it goes over the bar instead. And just mentioning on those headers as well, obviously, they need to put pressure on them from the corners, things like that. Ben Hamill scored a header, the third goal of this afternoon, but I think where they're really lacking as well is from goal kicks and coming out from the back. There doesn't seem to be too much pressure for Marcus Duncan and Michael Sessions heading it from the back. And then from there, the second phase play, just winning it, it just seems a bit too easy for Lambton. Not too much pressure coming out here. We'll see if they can win one now. And a free kick there, yeah, for Collar. See, again, Luke Remington was the one rising above, and it just seems Port United not getting up high enough to win these headers and retain the ball.
Yeah, look, I mean, that's it's happened quite a few times. Basically, all the goal kicks, most of them within a second or two of hitting the ground, of going back to a Jaffas foot. So it's very hard. But again, you don't want to encourage it to play too much out from the back, because the high press that Jaffas are sometimes putting on Port, they're going to lose the ball even further back. It's not an easy situation if you're Port United right now.
So throw-in's going to go to Port United. Matthew Bale, the captain, winning that one. Goes to Jimmy Watson. Well, Jimmy Watson, a little nutmeg there. Nice and skillful there. And more with it. Goes out wide.
The Port bench really enjoyed that, and I'll let Pat Brown know about it as well.
Well, even if they lose this one today, at least they have that to look upon. It's a bit of a collision over there in the far side of the field between Collar and Greentree, I think it was. Is it? Elliott breaks. There's a bit of space in the middle. Collar now had a bit of a push in the back there, maybe for that last one previously, and Jimmy Watson wins himself a free kick. He looks to be Jimmy Watson. I know you mentioned Gordon as one of the danger men for Port United that Lambton Jaffas would have to contain, but I think Jimmy Watson has been one of the most busiest players on the Port team so far. Looks to be getting the ball at the foot a lot of the time and trying to take on players, make something of this game, get a goal. So breaks now. Knocks it into the box. Some bodies going in, and it's going to be saved for Swancock. Can they get it in? I'm not sure how that hasn't gone in. I thought for sure I was going to say it was 4-1, but instead I think it was Gordon. You talked about Harrison Gordon, who had the first shot straight into the bad Swancock. Here's the replay. First shot from Gordon, saved, came back out, and then saved again. I'm not sure how that second shot did not go in.
Wow.
There's a free kick to Port United over in the corner, but that would have been nice for them going into half-time. 4-1. Bit of a slither of hope it would have been.
Exactly.
So cross comes in, and it's going to be cleared away by Jaffas now, as referee says that will do us for the first half. Lambton Jaffas going in 4-0 against Port United. A quite dominant first half display. Ben Hay getting 2 goals, Ben Hamill getting 1, and Tom Waller scoring the other one. There's still the second half to come. Potentially, Port United, can they make something of this game, even if it's not a win? Can they make it more respectable? Can they get some goals against Lambton Jaffas?
Well, look, they've shown they can. You look at that last 60 seconds of play there, and they've shown they can get the ball across. You're absolutely spot on. Jimmy Watson's been the man that's been winning a lot more. I'd mentioned Harrison Gordon before. He's obviously starred in those games where they've been scoring 4 and 5 goals, and you can see why. That was a cracking strike that was well kept out by Swancock. But you know what? They're going to go in. They'll hopefully go in with a wee bit more confidence after that last minute or two. But again, it's going to be how Lambton come out in the second half as well.
Well, Liam, we'll have a break. We'll have a quick break, as will the players. Make sure you don't go away anywhere. This is Bar TV's coverage of the FFA Cup match between Lambton Jaffas and Port United. We'll be back in a bit for the second half. And welcome back here to the Lake Macquarie Regional Football Facility for the second half of this one between Lambton Jaffas and Port United. Lambton winning this one 4-0 so far. It's been quite a dominant first half performance, but still the second half to come. And let's hope for Port United's sake that they can score some goals, put some pressure on Lambton, maybe learn a few things from the first half and work on that. I am Quentin Connors, also known as Q. I'm joined once again by Liam Bentley.
How are you, Q?
I'm good once again. We're back on here again in Lambton, keeping the ball at the back as they have done so far. And Liam, you were telling me just in the break before we went back onto air here, you were listening to some of the instructions given by the coaches in the team talks as you're walking past their dressing rooms.
Yeah, and look, James, he kept it very, very simple. You know, there's no great science about it. It's, you know, win your challenges, and he was saying to a few of the boys as they walked on the pitch, win your first challenge, make your first pass. And you know, if you start in that vein, you're going to keep going, and it's probably ironically the team talk that Port probably needed. You know, win that first challenge, make your passes, and you'll be in a much better position.
Well, coming on the field as well, Lambton, they've made a change in the break. Rex Vernant, number 7, a long hair with a ponytail at the back. He's on the park now, and I think he might have taken off Luke Remington as Greentree with the ball. He's looking for Pat Brown, can't find him though. And yes, Luke Remington is the one that is on the bench now. Made a substitution, one of the key players for Lambton Jaffas. You would think that they'll probably bring off a couple of the other key players as the match wears on into the second half, give them a bit of a break, because they will be playing, if the scores stay the same, which we think they will be playing on Tuesday or Wednesday.
Could possibly be Monday as well if Boambi get through, but yeah, so they've got at least they'll get another game in the next 5 days, put it that way. Yeah, like I say, you'd imagine the odds would be in Charlestown's favour, so it'll be Tuesday, Wednesday, but I think as well, yeah, I'd be taking off some key players without being too disrespectful. You want to protect your assets.
Well, as they've done already, they've got the 2 Griffiths brothers. One is sitting on the bench. Ryan is not even on the team sheet for today. Joel Griffiths is on the bench. I can't imagine he'll see the field though for this game. Probably only on the bench if he was needed. Joe Wheelhouse, I know, has been struggling with an ankle injury for the better part of 2 years. Really, I'm not sure if he's going to be playing in the next round, the final 4. But definitely good guys to have fresh coming into a match of that standard, so
not bad few additions, is it? Look, again, you're looking if they're going to get a home tie or even an away tie at another Newcastle-based NPL ground.
The corner comes in from Ben Hamill and it's going to get cleared away from the Port defence. Ben Hay whipping it back out to Hamill. Hamill's going to take him on here. Loves a good step over, doesn't he? On the right foot now, he's going to cross it in, but it's going to get a deflection and they're going to get another corner.
Another long 45 minutes, you imagine, for that defence of Port United.
An early goal, though. I mean, they had a chance just before the first half ended. Probably should have scored that one, and I mean, that just changes things a little bit. I mean, not necessarily saying they might score as the corner's whipped in and Verdi gets a head on it, but it's going to go over the bar.
It might just get them angry, Hugh.
Yeah.
it might just give them the kick up the backside that they needed to score a few more. It's always a worrying sign to score against one of the better teams.
But as well, it might also spark the confidence, spark the energy around the Port United side. I can't imagine
absolutely
there'll be too much, I guess, energy and willingness going around when you're down 4-0, but a goal would certainly change that a little bit as Watson holding him off here. Doing very well, Jimmy Watson, in that right bottom corner of your screens. Gives it a pass away now and a little toe in from Lambton Jaffas, and that's all it takes to win the ball back. Ben Hamill keeping it. He's going to go out wide here to Pat Brown. He's going to skid away from Pat Brown. He's going to get control of it again. Looks for the ball in. I think it was Elliot Brakes who got a touch on it, and Higham picked up the ball. There was a shout there I heard for a pass back, but I don't think Brakes was deliberately passing it back.
One hell of a pass if he was.
As Pat Brown's got the ball now, looking for a little 1-2 with Verdi. Verdi pops it over the top. Might find Ben Hamill instead. And the referee's going to call an offside, despite the fact that the linesman hadn't put up his flag over the far side of the field, which to the Lambton Jaffas bench wasn't what they would have chosen. So,
not sure about that one. I was
don't often see that one either.
No, I won't be lie. I was looking at the back four of Lambton at the time and caught a little bit unawares by that one, Koo.
It's Pilgrim now. He fights well to keep the ball and gets Jimmy Watson. Jimmy Watson gets a toe on it. And now it's down the side here to Broderick. Can Broderick get a cross in? He can. Is there someone running in? No, there's not. And Swancott gobbles it up. Says, that's mine. And then throws a big long pass out almost halfway. And it finds Ben Hamill, who then wins the throw-in.
Look, I mean, if you take the one on either side of half-time, that's now 2 pretty good chances in 5 minutes that Port have had. And they just want to keep that momentum up and see if they can actually do a bit of damage on the scoreboard.
So it comes back now to the captain, Sessions. Sessions just taking his time. Now he's going to slog it over there to Marcus Duncan. Duncan now finds the foot of, I believe that's Hamill over there. No, it was Mapu, sorry. And with the ball now, a bit of a... It's in the back of the net.
Wow.
Well, wow. I thought it had gone behind the goal. I thought it hit the side netting. Instead, it's crept its way into the left upright. The goalkeeper, Higham, hasn't made a play at it. He must have thought that it was going behind as well, like I did. And the goal there, and it's quite simply done once again to Lambton Jaffas.
Yeah, he's just, you can see the ball coming through. And
Nathan Verity it is. Just gets a shot away. I'm not sure if he was going for the goal, if he was going for a cross. Either way, he found the top left corner.
I'm going to give him the credit, Q. I think he was going for that, and I think he realised the keeper was probably a yard or two further out than he thought, because he came and then he decided to go back when he realised Verity was going wide. And I think he was just caught a yard or two away from his post, and that was some finish from Verity to squeeze it in there.
Well, it took me by surprise. I thought it hit the side netting.
Imagine being the keeper.
Didn't think there was much to talk about, and here Nathan Verity was celebrating as Port United, as that goal took place and the teams walked back. They have made a substitution as well. Number 15 Collar has come off, and number 12 Sandro Hutter has come onto the field, who I've been told is lightning quick, so might be something to they might have been wanting to hold him back on the bench for a little bit longer when the Lambton defence was a bit more tired. But as the scores are 5-0 in favour to Lambton Jaffas, I think now is probably the better time of ever to get a player of that calibre onto the field.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't hold your weapons back when you're 5-0 down. You know, if Hutter's got a bit of pace and can do a bit of damage, then absolutely get him on, and it might be the answer to those long balls going through. Might give you increase those percentages just a little bit.
It's a ball there wide now to the goal scorer, Nathan Verity, who wins a throw-in. Trying to work their way through there, and the ball's fallen to Pat Brown. Or Greentree is, sorry. He crosses it in, but doesn't find anyone. But they collect it once again, and can they get a shot away? They can, but it's over the crossbar this time.
He's got to be careful now that they don't get too tired and miss out on those challenges. The last thing you want to do is start, it was pretty close there. I think if he hadn't got the shot away, it could have been a free kick there, and you need to be very careful you don't start giving away silly free kicks in and around the box in this last 40 minutes.
This ball's cleared down the field. Watson gets onto it, and Port United playing it back. This is one of the first times I think they actually play back this game, but then it's cleared down the field, and Matthew Bale, he's jumping up for it but misses it. Breaks and almost dodges it out of the way. Nathan Verity, he's in behind once again. He's going one-on-one. Can he score? He's trying to go round, and he's made a meal of it instead. He's tried to go too far, and the ball might have skidded away from him when he's trying to beat the keeper. And
well, I hope it's that, and I hope he didn't think, well, I've scored from about 3 degrees. I'm going to strive for about 2 in the next shot.
Well, yeah, he's gone from one extreme to the other, scoring a brilliant goal out of absolutely nothing, and then bottling something that probably should have been a goal. So
swings and roundabouts, Q.
Lambton Jaffas now getting forward once again with Marcus Duncan, who's just going to take up the space. Goes to Ben Hay in the middle of the park. Ben Hay's just going to calmly just beats 2 men, 3 now. Gets into the legs to Nathan Verity, but
Ben Hay has been doing that all day. He just takes the ball and he can wander through 2 or 3 midfielders and take out a whole line of defence on his own. Just not even at pace, just walking through. He's got such good feet. It's very hard and frustrating to play against.
And speaking of him, he's just come off after 55 minutes of football, scoring 2 goals and, as you said, being a danger man for them in the middle of the park. He comes off the field now. Number 6, Finn Paris, comes onto the field into the middle of the park, giving some of the younger players of their squad a bit of a run, a bit of an opportunity to showcase their talents. Ball comes in the middle of the park to Tom Waller. Tom Waller looks like he might be playing middle of the park now.
And it's good to get some of the young boys on as well. Not only it's, you know, playing them in the 20s and that type of thing is great, but to allow them to see not only at this, you know, at this level, but with the peers, with these guys who are senior first team players, and see how they interact with them and see if they can keep up with that level. James Vask will be pretty happy to have that opportunity.
It's Marcus Duncan now. He's on the far side of your screens with the ball. He gives it to Waller and then just going side to side as they have done so often during this game, just as calmly as you like, as easy as you like. And Michael Sessions with the ball now. He knocks it over wide there, and Finn Paris does well to keep Matthew Bay from getting the ball. Rich Marpu with it over that far side, takes him on the inside. Gets it to the foot of Pat Brown, who gives it back to Marpu. He's in on goal. Is he going to get a shot away? It went into the back of the net, but the referee said, let's come back to the penalty first. Calling the foul before the ball had gone into the back of the net. It was a great little 1-2 play there by Pat Brown and Ridge Marpu. Here comes the replay. We'll see. Yeah, I think it was Eli Wade who's just giving him a bit of a push there, a bit of a desperate challenge. And Verity put it in the back of the net, but they're going to take it off him. And
yeah, look, the foul was there. I think there's any question the foul was there.
And Brent Hamill now, he's going to step up to it. Will he make it 6 and a second for himself? He runs up. And he coolly puts it away into the right-hand bottom corner. The left-hand goal of the left-hand side of the goal. Quite a simple finish, obviously, from the dot shot. Makes no mistakes about it. Keeper Higgin went the right way, to his credit. Just unable to get over to the length that the ball went in. Here's the replay. Just
low, hard, and on the ground. Keeper done well to get close, but not many keepers are going to stop that one, I don't think.
And that makes it 6 now for Lambton Jaffas. 6-0 up with 57 minutes played in the game. Still over half an hour to go in this one. As we said, I don't think Port United will be expecting to win the game at this stage, but we're hoping to make it a bit more respectable, and a few goals would do that. I mean, they did have a couple of chances in the first half.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, you get into that point now, you realise there's still a fair way to go, still more than half an hour to go, and they've already conceded 6. You don't want to be looking at double figures. You know, this goes from 6-2 or goes to 9-0, and it's 2 very, very different score lines as you head back up the highway.
Hamill onto it down now. He gets a little touch, and can he get back onto it again? He can. He gives it to Verity. Verity just cuts it across there, and it's in the back of the net, and that makes it 7. Finn Paris, he only came on the field about 5 minutes ago, and he gets a goal. Brent Hamill doing the majority of the work on the left-hand side here. Got a toe in, collected it once again, then got it to Nathan Verity, who then smartly just cut it across the goal. Finn Paris makes no mistakes, and yeah, it looks like the scoreline's getting a bit out of hand at the moment now, Liam.
Yeah, look, it's tired legs as well. These boys have been working hard to keep up with this type of press and this type of intensity. And yeah, as soon as you end up tracking back, it's always, I don't know about you, Q, but I always find it 10 times harder to run back than to do it run forward. And these boys have been running back for 59 minutes, and it's pretty tough. Tough work.
Broderick now. He's going to go across over to Moore. Towering figure of Moore, but he passes it now. That's the substitution there. Pugh gives it to Pilgrim, who keeps the ball, and they're going to switch it back over now. Watson and over to Broderick. I can hear the Port United coach on the sideline saying easy ball, and that has probably been something that they've been lacking for the first 60 minutes of this game, just taking the easy pass, and it seems to be working for them at the moment. They've got a bit of possession for the first time, and a bit of a mistake there from Hutter. Moore gets onto it and makes sure that it's not too embarrassing for him, but
that's a coach killer, Q. That is an absolute coach killer. You were absolutely spot on. They looked for the first time in a while like they were holding a bit of the ball in midfield and going forward, and then to literally fall over. I mean, that's just when you're having a bad day, you're having a bad day, mate.
Yeah, when it's just not their day, it seems, for Port United. They're down 7-0, 60 minutes have gone. You are watching Bar TV's coverage of the FFA Cup. Still one more game to go between Charlestown and Boambi Bombers from the far north coast, as Swancott launches it down the field. Headed by Pugh and back into the path of Pilgrim's path. And Paris with the ball now. One of the goal scorers, Ridge Marpy with the ball. They won the penalty that Ben Hamill put away, and going to be given offside there. Bosnanovsky, who has been substituted onto the field without our knowledge, Liam.
I think he came on for Pat Brown.
He snuck onto the field without us noticing.
Snuck on just after that 7th goal, I think.
Dylan Bosnanovsky, another young player onto the field for them today, and it seems, just noticing as well, I mean, Ben Hamill, he's now gone up the field, and it seems like they have quite a good rotation between positions and players that can play in multiple roles in this side. We've seen Pat Brown was a winger, then the number 9, and Ben Hamill, he's been everywhere. He's got the ball now again.
Absolutely. You've seen not only just the players that come on, there have been a lot of changes as those subs are made. And look, you know, again, without being disrespectful, it's probably a good time for a bit of experimentation for James Pascoe.
It's Paris with the ball now. Hamill's still got it. He's going to take him on. He's won the corner there. And this would now mean that Lambton Jaffas will join Hamilton Olympic and Bournemouth Magic. It's a short corner, comes in. Got a bit of space to cross it in now, and it's found the back of the net. And that is number 8 now for Lambton Jaffas. They're not really celebrating it, but Marcus Duncan, he scores a goal. He doesn't score many, so he'll be happy with that. Although he did score last weekend in the MPL fixture against Edgeworth. But another one here, and that's number 8 now for Lambton.
And look, I don't think Marcus Duncan's going to score too many volleys in his time as a centre half. But yeah, finished out with aplomb. He's put that in the back of the net, and no question. Obviously, they're not celebrating, trying to be a bit more respectful of their opponents. But you know, it's they've still got to get the job done. They still want to be professional about it. They still want to do the right thing, and I guess these guys are also playing for the spots, quite a few of them as well.
Well, it's now 8-0 to the Lambton Jaffas against Port United. Hasn't been Port's day. They had a chance late in the first half to score a goal, but it went begging, and that might have been probably the only chance for them to really score. I still think a goal would make it, give them the drive home a bit better for them. 8-1 sounds a bit better than 8-0 always. So
absolutely, but they're 2-0 up in the nutmeg stakes, Q, and I think they'll happily remind the Lambton boys of that.
Jimmy Watson getting that first one there as well. Braden Swancott just going to roll it out to Marcus Duncan, one of the goal scorers. It's been 6 goal scorers for Lambton Jaffas today. Wozanovsky trying to find, he was Marpu out on that right edge. Found the touchline instead though. As I was saying before, Lambton scored the goal. They'll now join Hamilton Olympic and Broadmeadow Magic into the final 4. The draw to come later on after the game between Charlestown and Boambi to see who we're playing in the final 4, and that's so important as well. Obviously, that draw. I mean, that's what could really decide. I mean, we know that Broommeadow Magic and Lambton Jaffas are the only two teams left that have featured in the FFA Cup round of 32 before. But if those two get put together, we're guaranteed someone new, which is always nice. As Matt Bale was crunched there in the tackle, got sandwiched, and no free kick given though. And Hutter there did well there to win a free kick from Nathan Verdi. They're going to take the quick free kick.
It's really the first time we've seen him playing it across.
Pugh does well to keep the ball there despite Bozanovsky's efforts. They're going to win a throw-in again, and I was talking to Graham Law earlier in the second match, Liam, and we were giving our predictions on who potentially might be there in the round of 32. We now know the three teams that will be there, obviously not the fourth one still to come later on tonight, but who's your early pick so far? Who do you think will be there?
Look, it's really hard to say, and I don't want to get on the wrong side of any club I've got to deal with when we set them up over the next couple of weeks. Look, to be honest, when we looked at the clubs that got through to this stage, to round 6, it was basically the top 6 of the NPL. So I think for us, this ball comes across.
Save there, and it's Ben Hamill with it. Gets it back out now to Greentree out there, who puts a lofting ball in, but it's going to go too far. And obviously three of the best teams I should say, are into the next round. Hamilton causing a bit of an upset on Edgeworth, but
absolutely. Look, I mean, from our point of view as a Northern boy now, we want the best teams to get through for us and give us the best showing on the national stage for Newcastle and Northern New South Wales. So having this strong a bunch of teams going through, and you look at Charlestown or Boambi. Again, I'm a big lover of a cup dream, so if Boambi get through, then fantastic. If Charlestown get through, they've had a bit of a lull in the last few weeks, but they absolutely dominated the start of the season. They went unbeaten for 5 or 6 games, and they've certainly got potential. They've got some quality players in there. They've got a coach that's got that nous to get them through. So you wouldn't take it away from any of the 4 teams that could get through.
Hutter's tried to pass the ball, but it's gone behind Pilgrim. Pilgrim's going to collect it though, and does well to keep it. Tries to play down the wing there to Broderick, but it's going to go a bit too far, and Michael Sessions picks it up, finds Waller's feet. Waller finds Greentree. It's just on the line there. I thought it might have just stayed in, but no. The linesman says it went out. Broderick throws it in and collects the ball once again. Gets another throw in, and just looking at Lambton's performance today, as well as Broadmeadow Magic, I think those two would definitely be considered the favourites to be the 2 teams selected. And a crunching tackle coming in from Finance there. And Watson's still on the ground. I think he hit the ground pretty hard. We know it's a tough pitch, although he's jumped up and he's now appealing to the referee. So I'm not sure if he was too injured, but still must have been a hard landing on the ground there.
I must admit, I probably agree with him. I thought that was a free kick at least. We give the benefit of the doubt on the slippery surface to the defender there, but certainly left nothing to the imagination.
We're just looking at the next match as well, obviously. Charlestown up against Boambi Bombers. Boambi, they're undefeated in their league, in the Coffs League, the Coffs Harbour League.
And managed to bag 10 goals in their 2 qualification games in the Northern Zone qualifying weekend. And to be quite frank, I walked away from that weekend thinking of all the teams that played that weekend, and with Port and Boambi getting through, that Boambi looked the most likely to cause an upset should they get a good draw. At that point, I didn't realise it was most of the top half of the NPL that was going to get through. So that makes it a bit more difficult.
There's Nathan Verdi taking off down the left-hand side. Can he beat Wade here? He's going to turn back around and find the foot there of Hamill. Hamill just holding it up, waiting for Greentree to get around him. He gives it to Greentree. Low cross across the face of goal. Verdi with it now. Hits it. I think it knocked into the back of his own teammate, Rex Finance. It's going to be a goal kick, but I must admit as well, when I came to the ground today, I figured that if there was going to be an upset, it would probably be Boambi and Charlestown. And one of the great players on Boambi's side, one of probably their key man, is Brady Parker, who's a former Broommeadow Magic man, used to play in the NPL only a couple of seasons ago, and he's been bagging in a lot of goals in for them, and they've, I believe, to my knowledge, that they've scored 40 goals in 8 games in that league, which is averaging 5 goals a match.
He absolutely dominated that Northern qualifying weekend, Q. He was unbelievable.
So the ball comes in. Bozanowski's got a lot of time in his hands. Can he get a goal in? He can't. I was just about to say he can, but a nice save there from Higham. Nice to see that he's making the saves. Hasn't let the 8 goals get to him.
He hasn't, to be frank, I don't think he's been at fault for any. 8 different goals have gone in. I really don't think he's been at fault for too much. There's been some cracking shots. You could probably say that that Verity goal from the left-hand side, it was caught a little bit, out of position. But most of those goals, you couldn't really put the blame on the keeper.
Well, they're quite a small keeper as well, so doesn't make his job any easier as the ball's whipped in here and it's cleared away though from the Port defenders. Waller gets a toe in and tries to keep it in, does so, and then knocks it straight into Pugh, and they'll win themselves a free kick. I'll ask you now, Liam, what do you, obviously we've just previewed the next match a little bit, Boambi Charlestown, should be a great game, I think. What's your tip? Who do you see going through?
Oh, look, I love a cup upset, but I'd be if I had to put money on it, I'd be saying Charlestown. They've got, also had a bit of dip in form for this week. As
Ridge Mapu, can he get a toe in? He can get a toe in, but he tried to beat the keeper instead of just going for goal in the first touch, and he's going to run out for a goal kick. Almost got a goal there. He got denied one in the earlier on a few minutes ago got brought down in the box for a penalty. But can't get that one. Would have been a nice little passing goal there from Lambton. Not to be, but
he's been quality as well, Mapu, to be honest. The amount of times, I've lost count of times he's run down that right wing and cut inside to the left and created opportunities. He's done it, 10, 15 times throughout this game.
But just back on the Charlestown Boembe game, and I'm really looking forward to that one and seeing how Charlestown's defence can cope with Parker. I mean, obviously, like I was saying at the beginning of this match, it's unknown quantities when you verse Northern Conference teams, just because we are quite sheltered in terms of down here at the south. We're quite sheltered and only really look at our teams in the Premier competitions, so not much notice goes up north, which will be good to see how they can cope with someone like Parker, who they may not know all that much about.
And you just see it'll be interesting to see how much attention they pay him, because in the couple of games in the Northern Conference qualifying, he seemed to have the free rein around the park. He's that powerful and strong that even when you do man mark him, it's quite difficult for him to stop him. But you'll see, I guess probably the stronger defensive bodies of Charlestown might be able to actually cope with that, and it'll be interesting to see how he goes at that level. He's obviously played at this level before, and he's been up in Coffs Harbour for a bit, but see if he's still got it at this level.
Well, Sandro Hutter there just making a brilliant run, getting away from a few defenders, winning the free kick in the end. Seen him early on since he's come on in the second half, and he's offered a lot as the ball comes whipping in, but it's going to be easily knocked away by Lambton. And you start to think almost from Hutter seems to be one of the most dangerous players, threatening players on that team, if he should have been starting instead earlier on.
Yeah, well, there must be a reason behind it. I don't know if he was fully fit or the like, but he's certainly, he's just doing laps right now, up and down. He's doing talkies.
Yeah, he's got a lot of
energy and a lot of pace.
Here he is with the ball again, looking for someone to pass it to. He's going to try a little dink over to Matt Bale. Doesn't find him though. Michael Sessions getting a header in, and now it's gone to Ben Hamill, who tries a little flick to Finn Paris there, I think it is. Does well to keep it though, Hamill. And Verity tries to keep it, wins a throw in instead.
Tell you what, your man up front has had one of the hardest jobs in football, Matthew Beale. He's playing up front in a team that's getting beat 8-0. That is absolute hard yards, and that is going to be a sore set of legs, because you get no reward for it, and you're running constantly, you're battling up against a couple of big centre halves. It's a thankless task from Half Bale.
And speaking of that, man Bale trying to keep the ball from Finance there, but Finance getting the better of him. And now he's back on the ball again, Rex. Goes out wide. Verdi knocking it back to Greentree. Verdi getting the ball, got a bit of space on his hands, but he goes back to Finance. Hamill now. Knocks it out to Paris. And I think the main area that Lambton have just been totally better than Port United and have totally dominated is that midfield. That midfield is just completely taken over and dominated, really, just always keeping the ball, always finding a way to move and be free. And
they've hardly missed a pass, Q. You know, in that middle third, they've hardly missed a pass. And I think that's just been the absolute black and white difference between both teams. You know, they get into that middle third, they make just about every pass. The only passes that don't always make it are those through balls and the ones we're trying to create an opportunity. But when they want to keep possession, they pretty much keep possession.
Well, we were talking, me and Graham, earlier on in the second game about how the draw was going to be decided, Liam, for the next round and where it's going to be hosted, the games, if they are chosen. Would you like to give us a little bit of a rundown on what's going to happen? Because I know that if one of the northern teams, but when we do get through, we'll play on a different day.
Absolutely. So as we get that one clear. So yeah, if Boambi get through, we'll still do the draw tonight after the last game. So 8 PM live on Facebook, we'll have the draw done. But what we'll do is if Boambi are in the draw, then they will be playing on Monday at this facility. So whoever plays them will play here on the Monday. And any Newcastle-based NPL teams that are playing against each other, so whether that's one game or two games, depending on how Charlestown go, they will be at the home venue, provided weather prevails and we can host them. They'll be at the home venue of the first drawn-out club on Tuesday or Wednesday.
Right, well, there you go. Me and Graham were debating it beforehand about where I believe that I was right and Graham was wrong. But nonetheless, Nathan Verdi trying a little bit of a 360 mode on a spin there. Liam Watson getting Jimmy Watson, sorry, getting the ball away and falling on his backside in the process as the ball ends drawn out wide there. Pugh with the ball, gets it to Pilgrim. Pilgrim can't keep it though. Ijmapu winning the ball, and Pugh cleans it up though and gets the ball, well, looks to get the ball back into Pilgrim, but now they're going to break, and nice little offside trap there from Eli Wade catching Brent Hamill offside, because if he wasn't offside, he was definitely in on goal.
Yeah, I was quite smart. He knew what he was doing there.
And despite this scoreline, we must still, I guess, stress to our listeners, I should say, that Port United, to get into this position, only two Northern Conference sides do get into the final eight. So to actually get there amongst the 46 or so, isn't it, teams that compete in the north, that it's quite an achievement to get this far. So regardless of the result, I think they can still hold their heads up high for what they've achieved so far.
Absolutely, Q. They have been fantastic to get to this point. Like I say, they toiled hard to get through in the Northern Conference round with 2 games in 2 days, including an extra time. So a few sore legs after that one. And like you say, there's more than 40 teams from the Northern Conference that try and get to this stage, and only two get there. So, you know, they put out a couple of good teams on their way. And again, you look at probably one of the other better teams, Wambi, coming through as well. These boys have worked really hard to get to this point, and you know this is as far as Port have ever got. So these boys they'll be remembered for that, for getting them to the round 6 of FA Cup.
It also means that they don't have to play on Monday, which means they get to enjoy a bit of a holiday, I suppose, on the long weekend.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Stay in Newcastle for a little bit.
I'm sure the boys will have a nice glass of wine and some cheese tonight. I'm sure that'll go down well. The boys they'll enjoy tonight. They get a chance to enjoy it, and they'll stay down in Newcastle, and they get the long weekend back. I'm sure they'd probably given up the long weekend for another game on Monday. But yeah, the boys have done very well.
So substitution being made here for Port United. Coming off is Pugh, who actually was substituted on in the first half. So interesting call there by the coach. Coming on number 8 is Andrew Collins. Looks like he's going to be playing at the back there with Eli Wade. Don't often see a substitute being substituted off. Once again, not too common in the world of football, as Michael Sessions just bombs it up in the air.
And to be fair, I think it was 65 minutes. He only came on in the 15th minute after Berkray was taken off injured. So there's a few subs come off before 65 minutes. But yeah, never feels good being a sub that gets subbed, does it?
No. No, it's not too common, but as you did say, he did spend quite a bit of time on the field. As Collins going to knock it in. There's a good ball into that space there, right where you want it as an attacker to head it. And it's cleared away down the field, and it's going to stay in. Collins thought at first it was going to go out for a throw-in, but doesn't matter. He has time to get his foot on the ball now, and he's going to go long. Looking for Gordon down there. Finance gets his foot on the ball in the midfield. Back to Sessions. And me and Graham, last game, we gave out our man of the match. For the match against Women Magic, I chose Carl Bradbury. He chose Cox in the middle of the park. Liam, who would you choose for this one? Obviously, probably a Lambton Jaffas player, I would assume, but...
Yeah, look, well, it's hard for me. I think if he'd played 90 minutes, I think Brent Hamill was probably the pick for me. But at the same point, I think Reg Mapu's been fantastic. I think he's been involved in everything going down the right-hand side. But
it's a lovely bit of skill down the side here. Nathan Verdi's got it. Can he get across in? He's out strength there by, I think it was Eli Wade, but he makes a bit of a meal of the pass out of there, and Ben Hamill looks for a shot on his right foot. And now Breaks is going to go down, and Sessions is going to take his time with it. So you're going with Reg Mapu, are you, or Ben Hamill?
We'll go Brent Hamill. We'll go Brent Hamill.
Yes, I think he's, especially considering he's played 90 minutes, I probably would have said after just the first half that Ben Hay would have been the guy, but he obviously went off pretty early on. He was, I think, definitely the difference, because I mean there was about 20 minutes or so where Lambton and Port were neck and neck at each other. I mean, Port were holding them out at least. And Ben Hay, though, he proved to be the difference. He was, I think, made an assist, scored 2 goals as well, obviously. But Ben Hamill, he's been everywhere, hasn't he? Yeah,
he literally has been everywhere. There was one bit where he was left, middle, right, all within a bit of space, about 30 seconds, and yeah, he's been fantastic.
Just been a bad smell for the Port United. He just won't go away.
Nah, exactly.
And Swancott with the ball, he's going to take his time. That's Michael Sessions. I mean, you must make a shout out as well, I think, to Michael Sessions and Marcus Duncan. Marcus Duncan obviously scoring a goal as well, getting on the score sheet, but I think Sessions as well, they've just shut everything down that's ever gone forward. They have never looked like, really, other than that time in the first half, which was off a set piece, haven't even looked like scoring a goal and haven't looked like getting in behind them. So you must make a special mention to them, I think.
Sessions has been quality. Everything that's gone up there, we mentioned it when we were talking more about what Port were doing, but every ball went up there. Sessions has either won it at the head or brought it down and started the attacking. You know, out of those 8 goals, I'd be interested to see how many of them started with the ball at Sessions' feet as well. He's been fantastic.
As Jimmy Watson now.
But I'm not giving a centre-half man of the match in an 8-0 win.
You'd be silly too, as Hudder now with the ball. Can he get a cross in? He can, but it's a bit too long. Breaks is going to try and get onto it, put the brakes on the ball, but he doesn't win it, and it's just going to be cleared away by Lambton. But I mean, it's going to be very difficult, this question, I think, to answer. But I mean, if you had to give a man of the match or a player's player, so to speak, to Port United for their performance, I know it's been 8-0 as Finn Paris now has a lot of time on his hands, cuts it back on the inside onto his right foot. He's got a lot of time to shoot. He's going to pass it instead, gives it to the, it's flicked off the line there. Oh, a great save there, and you must make a special mention to that, because that is fantastic. You're down 8-0, to clear off the line, to have the will to get back there and clear that off the line, when many defenders probably would have just stopped and just counted their losses, counted the 9. That is a 9th goal. He's made a fantastic save there. I think it was in before you, Broderick, there making the save on the line. That's pretty remarkable.
An answer to your question as well, the man that just got tackled there, I think probably one of the easier questions actually is who's been their best player. I think Jimmy Watson's been fantastic.
Yeah, I think
he's been absolutely everywhere. And he's not the man's out on his feet at the moment, but he's been so good.
There's Nathan Verdi. He's going away in a bit of a reckless challenge, to be honest, to try and get a slide in. And Nathan Verdi just getting a call from the sideline to stay on his feet, which is...
You don't want to give away a yellow card or a red card at this stage. It would be daft. You're up 8-0. Just, let it go.
I was just going to make a special mention to Nathan Verdi too for his busyness down the left-hand flank, but might have to take it back after that challenge. No, he's been good
he's
today.
Been quality here.
I tend to agree. He's been obviously scoring that goal, which was out of absolutely nothing really to score it, but
we'll forget the miss after it as well.
he's been keeping very, very busy though, and here he is again, winning the ball, I think. Yep, referee said that's a throw-in for Lambton Jaffas. You can see he's got his hands on his hips. He looks absolutely puffed. Even though it's 8-0, he's been running around, keeping busy, keeping the Port United defence busy.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got the ball now again. He's going to try to hold off Jimmy Watson. But back to what you said about Jimmy Watson, I think he's been fantastic as well. I think he's been in a team that's obviously lost 8-0. You can't really point too many positives in their direction, but I think he can be one of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
His performance, I think he can be very proud of what he's brought to the Lambton Jaffas defence today.
And you look at how technically different the teams are. The one thing you look at that everyone can be equal on is how much they fight and how much they go for it.
The ball's crossed into the box now. It's blocked though. And now Port United might be able to get an attack on here. Hutter looking for it, but it's going to go way too long.
He's fast, but he's not that fast. But yeah, look at when teams are technically different. Yeah, I'm sure that the team talk would have been, we've got to go out there and battle, we've got to go out there and fight, and everything we can be equal on, we need to be better than the opposition at. And Jimmy Watson can probably walk back in with his head held high, saying he has battled for every single ball.
Would he be someone say for example, you were an NPL coach, Liam, one day, potentially? Would he be someone that you'd be looking to sign if you were, say, James Pascoe at the moment, coaching against him? Do you think he'd go quite well in this competition?
Well, you always want to sign your headaches. If you're an opposition coach, you want to sign your headaches. You want to sign the guys that you just don't like playing against. He's been the absolute standout. Whether they could cut it at this level, I'm not sure. Be very different to see you put him in a Valo or an Adamstown midfield or a Lake Macquarie midfield, and you see how it would go then. It might be quite a different game. Maybe this type of game suits him, of just being that chaser, that that real pit bull in the middle of the park to try and win everything. It might suit him more than having the ball at his feet. But yeah, like I say, you sign your headaches, and he's been probably the biggest headache.
Bozanovsky finds Verity, but Verity makes a meal of it, almost puts it onto the road over there. Well, that's one great goal and two bad misses, so
he'll just remember the goal, mate. The misses won't harm.
Yeah, I think he'll be able to sleep quite soundly tonight, the amount of running he's been doing as well today. So see on the replay here, Bozanovsky did well though. It's a good ball, this one, to get it in there as well. Collins not tracking his runner very well, but that's gone. I'm not sure that would go in if there was two goals on top of that. So
yeah, look, I think you can just see the other two defenders were really tired. It's been a long 87 minutes for these boys, and just that little bit of quick movement from Verity just was the difference between him getting the shot and not.
Rex Finance has the ball there, and Marcus Duncan is going to give it back to Finance, and it's going to go over the sideline though. Couldn't find Mapu, which must make a mention to our suppliers of our scaffolds and our scissor lift here. Instant Access, they have provided the scissor lift that our cameramen are using today to be able to film this game, and as I said in the first half, it wouldn't be possible without their support and their scissor lift for our cameramen. As I said, they would have been filming in a quite unorthodox positions, I imagine, maybe on top of the benches in the wet.
Bit different perspective.
Now, but, maybe from one of the grandstands, which would have been quite interesting as well.
Thanks very much, Instant Access, for helping us out. Gives everyone a much better platform to watch the game.
A yellow card's going to come the way of Hutter.
Maybe that's why I wasn't playing 90 minutes. Maybe he's got a card in him every 50 or so.
Well, he has kept busy though since he's come onto the field. He's done well. Been a bit of a headache, or small headache for Lambton Jaffas. I think credit has to go to, as we said, Marcus Duncan and Michael Sessions, but just Lambton Jaffas' defence right across the park. When you're up so much in a game and the win looks inevitable, it can be easy to just let a goal slip and go down to 8-1. But much to the pleasure, I think, of James Pascoe, the coach, they haven't. There's Paris with the ball now, looking to keep it. He does so. Plays it back to Duncan. Duncan's going to whip it over to Ridge Mapu, but there's going to be too much pace on it, and you can't get there. So Elliott breaks down here. He's looks to be quite sore, maybe cramping up
Yeah, I think a bit of cramp there, and can't blame him.
He's another one that's kept pretty busy in the midfield today, and must remember as well for the Port United fans that it might be 8-0, but your team definitely hasn't disgraced themselves. I mean, this is Lambton Jaffas side that are the champions, the defending champions, as Nathan Verity cracks that one into the distance.
You know,
across the horizon.
It's funny you say that, because you don't look at this and you don't think Port were terrible. They weren't. They've not been terrible.
No.
You know, they've just been a much better opponent against them. You know, and it's quite silly to say that. They've been 8-0 and they haven't been bad. You know,
yeah.
It's a couple of simple things again, like we mentioned earlier. A lot of the simple passes just going astray, but you know, most of it has been created by Jaffas creating it themselves and making that space and making those passes.
Ben Hamill goes with a bit of dink to Finn Paris. Can he get onto it? He can. He chests it down, but he can't get a shot away for his second goal, which would have been his second goal if he had got onto it. But Higham collects it, drop kicks it down the ground. But as you said, they haven't been, I guess, terrible. They haven't looked like an 8-0 losing side, Port United, and fans of theirs, I think you can still be proud of what your team has accomplished so far. And as we've said before, Lambton Jaffas pose such an impressive lineup. They haven't used any of their former A-League players. There's a yellow card is dished out there, I think, to Rex Fernandes, maybe for saying something. I'm not exactly sure. Pasco, I can't imagine the coach would be too happy with that, but the ball's crossed in now. Collins is not a good cross, though, when it's chested down by Paris, and he's going to take him on now, going back and forth, and bit of a poor pass to finish it off, though, and Collins trying to get it into the box, and Mapu now just going to with an easy out. And as I was saying, they haven't really used their former A-League stars and still put on 8, so great for Lambton Jaffas in their attack to know that they had that kind of depth in their ranks. There's Mapu trying to find Wozinowski. And that is the full-time whistle, and it marks the end of a quite dominant performance from Lambton Jaffas, winning this one 8-0. Goal scorers galore, goals galore. It was 4-0 at half-time, then scored 4 pretty quick ones, you could say. I think it was 8-0 by the 65th minute or so, but a dominant performance by Lambton Jaffas. Liam, what was your thoughts about this result?
Yeah, look, I mean, it's a dominant performance. I think if you were to ask the general football punter what the outcome would be, they wouldn't have predicted something too far off this, maybe a 4 or a 5-0. I think, you know, Lambton were clinical at points, and I think Port just really struggled to hold the ball. Again, as we mentioned not too long ago, they can walk away with their head held high to an extent. The talk in the room is they didn't want to leave here with an embarrassing scoreline. And yeah, it's 8-0, but it doesn't feel like they were embarrassed. It doesn't feel like they were absolutely battered. They were just, you know, they were played off the park. I mean, there's no doubt about that, but it wasn't through lack of trying. We talked about Jimmy Watson and his fight. That really made a difference. And again, you talk about the keeper, and the keeper didn't do too much wrong. Maybe one or two goals max were his doing. And yeah, look, it's hard yards. And again, if I'm a Port United fan, I'm absolutely delighted they got to this point.
Yep.
And I'm happy that they didn't disgrace themselves on the big stage.
Yep, definitely. Well, Brent Hamill, he got 2 goals. So too did Ben Hay. Marcus Duncan got one as well. Nathan Verity, Finn Paris as well, getting one. I might be missing one there as well, but I believe I've covered them all. But a dominant performance from Lambton Jaffas. They move on to the Final Four, just one game away from returning back to the round of 32. And the next game coming up, though, Charlestown City Blues, and they're up against Boambi Bombers. So make sure you stay on Bar TV Sports for the next game. It's going to be an absolute cracker, we think. Could be a cup set, as they call it on the cards.
Could be.
So make sure you stay on Bar TV Sports. I've been Quentin Connors. Liam, thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Q.
Make sure you guys stay on Bar TV Sports here. We'll be back in a moment.